Got it.
We all set? Maureen?
Yes.
Okay, everyone, would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing so we can have a moment of silence. We unfortunately lost 3 members of the community: Larry Vag, Bernice Emp, Alice Almond. Could please, moment of silence for them. Okay, thank you. I also would like to ask those that are listening as well for prayers for the family. I don't know how many know it, but just up the road from the town hall here, we had a trailer catch fire last night, early morning, completely totaled. I don't know the details on it or anything else. There was a family living in there. Where they are, or who's providing shelter for them or anything. So your prayers, please, for those folks that were living, like I said, just up the road from the town hall here. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. One other thing, I had Lee put it on our website. A number of people had asked about coming in to talk to the board and so on, and I said, I'm sorry, we're not open to the public coming in. But on our website is my phone number, which I might never pull my phone out. And if they so wish at the appropriate time, they can call in. The stipulations for anybody addressing the town board are the same as if they were here in person. I will put it on speaker on my phone so it is picked up by both the YouTube and the telephone in the office or in the room here, so everybody be able to hear. But like I said, I will say so, and it'll be towards the end of the meeting. Okay, with all that said, review and accept the bills. Everybody's had a chance to look the bills over, I understand, right?
Yes.
Whoop, sorry.
Are we all set with them?
I did have just one question. It wasn't specifically with the bills, like the financial aspect. I was just curious, I know that we had on there about the taxes for the Berry Cemetery, which I'm fine with. My only question, because I know we had agreed to do that last year and passed a resolution on that. Is there anything that we need to do to have it switch over so that it's just automatic, or is it just going to be that we'll just go ahead and pay those?
Well, first of all, it's yes. We had that discussion, and I can't remember exactly. I was in communication with Barry about that. I don't know where the next step was supposed to be. I don't know if it was dropped at his end or dropped at my end. But I have to discuss that with Barry once again. Second of all, it's not the taxes on the property, that's the water levy.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
So it's just on the water, and they don't have public water going in there and don't have any plans on the public water.
So it's water and the waste pickup?
No, there shouldn't be waste pickup either.
The waste pickup is for the town's
Oh,
pickup.
that town? Okay. All right. It was like next to mine.
Okay. Any other questions on any of the bills? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the bills.
I'll second.
Second is Dave.
Dave?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Minutes, everybody have a chance to read the minutes over. Any questions on the minutes?
I'm just realizing, I don't know that I got
I don't know where they,
the minutes from the 3rd. I got the minutes from
December.
Yeah, they'd be the minutes from December.
where did they?
They wouldn't be from January 3rd, they'll be next month.
Yeah, but I believe they were sent on the 3rd.
That's September.
Because I remember reading minutes.
Hold on, they may be on the other.
I didn't see it. Well, what would it be under?
I don't have your email yet, so.
Yeah, we gotta get
I
that.
hard copied you.
Okay.
And we're still working on getting you a license so you have the official town email.
Did Lee send it?
No, Maureen would have sent the minutes. Maureen?
I don't think, Margaret, did you? I'm not.
I'm not seeing them either. Maybe they were,
From the December board meeting, you don't see them.
No,
Am
I have,
too far?
I have December 8th.
Should be, I think you had them combined, if I remember ones I saw, which was both the board meeting and the end of the year meeting were both combined into one.
They're not combined in one. You adjourn the first meeting on the regular board night, and you leave it open till the last. That way you don't have to call a special board
Okay.
meeting. It's resumed. That first meeting is resumed on the last day.
And I think like what Margaret said, I think it came out the first part of January there.
Can you just check?
I'll go get the copy.
Because I don't have it, I don't have.
It should have been in your mailbox, because I don't have email
Mailbox.
for you.
All right, this is.
Yeah, I grabbed it.
I will find it. This is everything for my mailbox.
Those are for today.
Okay. Did you get everything out of my email, Carrie, or out of my mailbox, Carrie?
Yeah, I mean, you can go, check. It's in the little conference room, but I did grab everything out of it.
Good, good.
Right above the cap here.
I'm not finding them either, Carrie. I had minutes, I had Lee send me minutes for the planning board because I wanted to see those.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's what I saw.
So you had, yeah.
That was from December 13th, so, yeah, I don't see them on here.
Okay. I must have just had a hard copy she presented me.
I normally try and read stuff as they come in, so I don't always remember right off the,
I try and check every day when I come home from work. I started back to work this week.
How's that going?
They're great.
That's what she was in bed by 6:30 last night.
And I was
How
sleeping
many
by
more need-
7:30.
I need.
You
I
need
a
one?
copy, yeah.
Dave, did you get one?
I use one too.
You need one? Margaret?
Yeah, I need one too, please.
John?
I'm set. Thank
Okay.
you.
Did anyone have these done?
I'm good.
Sean, would you like these done?
I'm sorry?
Done?
No, thanks.
Okay.
Reminds me of what I've been eating.
Oh.
Don't pay attention right now.
You just made me remember I ought to turn my volume down.
realizing I have literally already got my two screens for the, so maybe I should just try and set up pages.
Sean, did you have one?
You gave me a hard copy.
Yeah.
You got too busy with them.
All right, see that you have all pages there.
How many pages are there, honey?
You know, the last one should have. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
4 pages?
Yep.
I'm
Okay.
double checking.
Thank you.
Making sure you got the full set. Yep, 4 pages. John,
Mhm.
you have a second from the Zoom?
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else want a staple?
I'll pass it down.
Did you sign in?
I did. I came in.
We all set on the minutes now?
I move to accept the minutes as written.
I'll second that.
That's Carrie and Margaret. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay. we have a couple gentlemen here from C&H who are our IT people. If gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Steven, and this is Joe. We're from CHBC. We just wanted to come in and kind of reintroduce ourselves to you and kind of go over what we do for the town and just kind of go over anything, any questions or anything that the board or anybody might have from us in regards to what you've gotten from us, what needs you have in the future, and that kind of stuff. If you look on the section 1, which is kind of outlining what, over the past 2 years since Joe and I purchased the business, what we've done for the town. One of the biggest things was back in 2020. The town was previously using just a residential router for internet access. We switched you over to a Sonic firewall, which gives you much more security and protection on a network level for all the machines and devices that are here in the town. We switched you over to a newer and more powerful antivirus. There's nothing really wrong with the one that we were using before, but we had issues with licensing and everything like that. But the one that we're using now, we actually like quite a bit more anyway. There has been just, I believe, only 2 new computers purchased over the past couple of years. I know that the board and everybody got laptops, but those were refurbished ones.
And just to mention real quick, the desktop that you're currently streaming on, we actually donated to the town. Just want to point that out as well.
That's the one that George is kicking over here.
That's fine.
He's just testing it. But as you can see, back in 2020, we had 97 calls from the town, just for various issues, fixes, questions, anything like that. And then in 2021, it went down to 63. So it looks like things are improving. Maybe you guys just have less questions about things, less issues. That's overall kind of our hope and goal for everything. Some of the other new things that were new in 2021 is your live streaming stuff, which we helped you with. Get that off the ground. I know a lot of the hardware and stuff was stuff that you already had, so we kind of worked to get that integrated into some new systems and everything to get it working best as it can for you. We do currently host a website, and I know that we've been in talks about possibly updating and kind of modernize that and give that a whole new look.
Meeting with Lee on Friday to discuss it.
This Friday.
Yeah, we'll be a few minutes late. Just gonna put that out on the live stream for everybody.
When would that, okay, you're meeting with Lee so she understands the procedure of updating
No.
and all the different links and everything on it, right?
No.
Oh,
Meeting with her to discuss adding. Right now, your site is very bare bones. There's nothing on there. It's very boring. There's nothing for the community. So we're meeting with her to, I know you had that, the Parks and Recreation guy that you were working with a while back. I'd like to get some information on that so we can start populating some of that stuff on there. People should be able to go to your website and get everything, not just little bits here and there. So we're just going to be taking what's there and making it look nicer, first of all, and then adding.
no cow?
No cow.
I think we have to have a resolution on that. I
We
don't-
need a cow still.
Come on, I hate that cow so much. If I put that cow there but like hide it a little, is that okay?
We can take a different cow picture, like a bird feed, and then maybe we'd be okay.
I guess I've been outvoted. I will leave the cow.
Oh,
Can we-
make it a Scottish Highlander coup.
Can we send ideas as well?
Absolutely.
What we'd like
I,
other-
anytime we do a website, I always tell people, you're not gonna send me too much. I would rather you just start throwing stuff at us instead of nothing. I hate the customer that will give me absolutely nothing for a website. It's your business, it's your website. I don't know. I mean, I do know enough about here though. But send me stuff.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a way that when, and we just had this happen, when somebody just Googles the town of Barry and something else pops up, can we make it that our website is the first that pops up?
That is called SEO, search engine optimization. That is not easy, it is not cheap. But yes, we can do it.
I had someone in here and they had bogus hours. They thought I was open at I don't know, something like 3 in the morning till
So-
6 in the
Very
morning or something.
Massachusetts or
It's
something.
because, yeah, there's other, like, if they just type in
Yes.
town of Berry,
But they
they're gonna get
think they found
Vermont
it.
and, right.
And they're
Right.
very upset when they're here, because one of them said that I don't accept cash, that's wrong. I don't remember what it was, but she said, she walked in here and said, well, your website says you're open, or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what website? So I asked if she saw the cow, and she looked dumbfounded at me, like, what are you talking about? I go, if you didn't see the cow, you're not on our website.
Yeah,
So I would like, because that's the most frustrating fear that I deal with.
okay,
If we're gonna have it, why can't we do it so that
you can,
it, so people can find it?
you can.
Right, so Berry, Massachusetts comes up first, and then Berry, Vermont, and the Berry, Massachusetts is
If you
townofberry.com.
guys weren't followers, being Barry like everybody else. But yes.
Yeah,
I
we're
can
named
send
after
you some
that
information
town.
on that. So, that's not a big deal.
And then there's a Wisconsin too. We're pretty low on the list, but we're like the 6th one down.
And that was without any optimization.
Without it, and just putting in town of Berry.
Okay.
No new, like if you put New York, we're the first one that pops up, but if you
Of
don't
course, yeah.
specify New York, it doesn't.
Yeah, we can do some optimization on it. I'll send info over.
Um,
Any other questions on the website before we move on?
I love it, I'll email them to you.
That's fine. Send it to info though. info@c&hpc, which our website is on the fence. That's our domain as well. Because then all of us will get that and not just me, because I tend to lose emails here and there.
Only from Sean.
I've never lost Sean, you kidding me? He knows how to get a hold of me.
So these guys are setting me up
Yes.
Yes.
computer? Okay.
Yeah, so your 365 account, since, we're on top of it right now, it was set up as a government account. It's a GCC G1 account. The only way for us to have licenses to that is to get a hold of our reseller partner and to actually have them physically have the license. It is not always easy to get a hold of them, which is why you don't have a license yet. Every other township we deal with, we have them on just a regular Microsoft account. We can go in there, hit add one, and we're done. Not yours, because your last IT did that, and we can't change it now because it's just there. You can't change it. So that's why yours is taking so long. It's not that we forgot you, it's just we have to do it kind of an old-fashioned way, unfortunately. But we will follow up with them and see if we can get it moving.
So what's the time frame, you think?
I don't have one,
Okay.
but I can call them tomorrow, see how quickly they can get it for us, and then I will text Sean and email you. Any other questions on that?
Okay, so section 2 is just kind of a breakdown of every service that you're currently utilizing from us. Like I said, we switched you over to ESET and security, so there's a few just points there of different features from all of these here. So another thing that, like he was saying, is you guys are using Microsoft 365. We took over as just being basically the manager of the account back, I think that was 2020.
Sure.
Then the other thing is, so you have hover phones through your phone system. Not everybody realizes just the amount of features and different things that you can actually do with the phone system. So if you have any questions about that, you can always either reach out to us or reach out to Hover directly. They always have lots of information. There's also a flyer with a little bit of information along with it and background detail.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question quick
Yeah.
now? So for the hover phones, do we have the ability to direct, like, say someone calls here and is looking for one of us as town board members, do we have the ability to set up a?
Absolutely.
Okay,
It's
then
called a
it would
hunt
go
group.
directly to, right, the hunt
Yeah.
group to our cell
Yeah.
phones. And
So what
then-
you would do is tell them you want to add a new option to the IVR menus, like right now it says press 1 or whatever for super, or whatever it says.
Right,
So then you could say, press 9 for a list of council members, then it can go to a different group that says, if you want, Dave, press 1, if you want Carrie, press 2, Sean, whatever. And then they can do that, and it'll forward it right to the cell phones, and the people calling would have absolutely no idea they're calling a cell phone.
right, like what the actual cell
Yeah.
phone number is. And we
The
have-
only problem with that is, there's 2 ways to do it. You can have it show on your cell phone that it's coming from the town, so that you know it's coming from the town, or you can have it announce the caller first, So you answer the phones and say, call from, and then you know it's a town call. We have ours set up that way, so when we answer the phone, it says call from, and then it reads it off, so we know we're answering a business call, so we can be a little bit more professional instead of just, hey. So, but yes, and if you call Hover and tell them that, that's all included in your contract, that's free.
I was just gonna ask, is there, I'm
Nope.
familiar with One Talk, and so I was wondering, like, if there's additional charges.
Not at
for
all.
One Talk.
Anything you guys need, you call Hover and tell them, they'll do it. That is all in your maintenance contract that you pay for.
Okay.
And then we're doing our website, really.
And then, so on to section 3, or just some recommendations.
Real quick, actually, website, let's go back to that for 1 second. Still in section 2, sorry. We added a lot of new features to the sites. We noticed over the past few years that as we added more websites to our server, all of our sites were slowing down. So we've added a free CDN, which I'll get to, a free SSL, and free optimization, all included in your monthly hosting. Instead of charging you more to pay for it, it's just included. A CDN is a content delivery network. Essentially what that does is it takes a copy of your website and it'll cache it all over the place on different servers. So if your server was here in New York and somebody from California tried to access it, it's going to take longer than somebody here in New York. Instead, with the CDN, if somebody's in California, they're going to access a server that's a lot closer. So it'll allow people to bring up your website a lot quicker, and it'll be a lot faster as they're transitioning through it as well. That's included. You used to pay for an SSL. An SSL is just a secure way for data to transmit between your end user and the site. We don't charge that anymore. That's free now. And the optimization, that is also free. Again, what that does is it will take your site, images on your site, it'll compress them, make them smaller. The smaller the image, the quicker it's going to load. Everything's about speed. So doing all of this, again, for free, increase everybody's rating. So you can go and you can actually do like a metric score on your site. I don't know what it's going to be right now, but everything was at like a D and an E, and we pretty much have gotten everybody up to an A and a B. So, and that is all included in your hosting.
I have a question about the website and kind of for moving forward, this may be kind of but mobile friendly.
The new one will be.
Okay,
Yeah, don't worry about that. I hate your site.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, we're gonna remake it, it's gonna be better. I actually already made it. I'm just kind of waiting for some new information, which we're gonna work on.
Are we all set with the amount of data that Lee can send out to them? We've been having problems the last few months here. We're trying to send out, when she's sending out vouchers and so on, a couple of people have not been able to get the whole package because the package was too large.
Wait, do the people you're sending it to, do they
It's
have
the
the kind of
computers, I believe, is what it was primarily, wasn't it, Lee?
I think so. It was their ability to, the large files, the amount of files that it could take.
So,
You had changed it once.
yeah.
And then,
So everybody's sending, I believe, is set to 120 megabytes. If you're sending something larger than that, you shouldn't be.
it was less than that, Joe.
It should be. No
Maybe
PDF
that.
should ever be that big.
Okay.
Because most systems will mark that as some sort of virus and will delete it, regardless, because a PDF should never be that big.
Okay.
So I can
You don't have
check.
any more problems, right?
Not this month, I did.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, because I believe I think hers was set to like 20, because that's what the default is, and then we upped it to 120.
Okay.
Because I think the file she was sending was huge.
Okay.
Joe,
Yes, sir.
silly question.
Yeah.
When you get the stuff ready for the websites, I mean, as a department head, I'd like to see you improve what you're gonna put out there.
Oh, yeah, the site is in
You're
a
gonna do
separate,
a
yeah.
draft?
It's in a completely separate subdomain. So once we have everything on there, then we're going to present it to everybody to actually see what's on there, make your changes, make your recommendations, and it will, nobody will ever see it except for you. That's all.
Cool.
Okay?
Yeah, so on to section 3, is just kind of recommendations that we have for the town. First off would be, I don't know the exact number right now, but I know there is some pretty old desktops here. I think it was Shelley's PC.
Yeah.
That
That's the
was
oldest one.
previously Lee's, which was old, or I think we did kind of like a three-way trade to get
Yes.
one over to Highway. So I know that one's very old and slow. I think the counter might be an older one. Other than that, for desktops, I'm not too sure. We are going to be here Friday to do maintenance on the PCs, so we'll kind of see which ones are the older ones or any that are giving you trouble.
Okay.
The next up we have a server. So right now, with the size of your town and the amount of people that are using things, software that she's using for tax and everything is on the server. Really, that would be the main thing. Would be switching you over to a server setup.
If I may interject as well, while we're talking about that. The biggest thing with the server, like you were saying, is having, with group policy, we can do a lot. We can map out specific folders so everyone has a shared drive. We can lock things down specifically. So the clerks can have their own folder specifically for them. Supervisor and lead can have their folder for them. And you can even have a centralized computer for all the council members to come in. Their own profile, get their email on there. If they need if you have like a centralized folder for everybody to access from, you can store employee documents on there. So something easy. Right now you're using OneDrive. OneDrive's terrible. It really is. I don't know how many times we've dealt with that with you. It's just bad because you're storing everything online, but then the way you're doing it, you download a copy, and then now you have a different revision online that's you're uploading it, and I think
Ask him again.
As I talk, you should hear the microphone move. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
Does anybody have the live stream going right now in here?
I do. I have it muted, do you want me to?
Test, 1, 2, 3.
Uh, 20-second delay.
Yeah, there's always going to be delay. It's a stream. Let me see your microphone. You still have that open? You wanted to see if this one sounds any better? That.
I got the little green bar bouncing around right here.
Yeah, I mean, that means it's picking us up and sending it out.
Yeah.
Anybody else saying anything?
I haven't gotten it.
Okay.
It's back, is what they said. It was off, but it's back now, so.
Oh, okay. Where were we? Security training. Okay. I don't want to take too much more of your time. Security training, we'll go quick. What we'd like to do is and if you clicked on it, we would know that you fell for the scam, and then we'd come back and train you on not to do it. So, again, security,
Sound is out
you
again.
want to be more preventative instead of, deal with it when it happens. Because since you are using OneDrive and you all have access to the OneDrive, if one of you lose access to your password, all your information's out there. Your town, most of it's public anyways, but there is still some information that shouldn't be out there. I mean, all the information in your tax database, people's phone numbers, addresses, names, all of it's in there. So that would be what the security awareness training is for. And then the last one would be the technical documentation. This one is nice for insurance. If you talk to your insurance provider, ask them about cybersecurity, and you may actually be able to save monthly or yearly, however you pay it, on your insurance just by having these policies put in place. It's right now, so I'm still working on it, we're at about 80 pages. That just goes over different policies, so encryption policies, physical policies on if you have like a physical hard drive or flash drive, like what do you do with them? They need to be locked up behind an actual locked door at all times. Security policies, incident policies, so say, hey, I think I might have been hacked, who do I call? What do I do? So you have a policy in place for that, an acceptable use policy. So, you got Dave over there on the town's computer, should he be looking up, recipes or something? No, he shouldn't, because that's not acceptable use for the town's time. So that would be included in there. I don't mean to sing you out, Dave.
I can tell. He's always looking for us.
So that's what all of that would be, but it's not just the documentation, it's the implementation. So we're not just selling you some paperwork and say, here you go, have fun. We're gonna sell you the paperwork that'll give you the discount on your insurance, and then we're gonna come here, we're actually gonna implement it. So we're gonna make sure everybody's mobile device is encrypted, laptops. We're gonna make sure if you're using town email, well, your phone needs to have a password on it, and it needs to have the management software, not software, but essentially it allows us, if your phone gets stolen, we can wipe your phone. And that is part of 365. And that's really it. And asset management, will help with asset management as well, so you actually know what you have here.
I was gonna ask, last year I started working on a technology kind of power replacement program. And I didn't get as far as I would like to get on it, but I did kind of put together some information. And so I guess that's something that I would be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on, not necessarily right now, but just sharing that. And then there was one other question that I had, and it just left my mind. But if I think of it, I will.
Yes. I mean, everyone has our number now, you can't say you don't. So if anyone has any questions, Dave and Sean know how to reach us the best.
Well, I'd like to just add that I've used CNH computer systems for quite a while, even before Joe and Steve owned it, and they've always been there for us in emergency situations, night or day. We've never really ever had a problem with them, so I truly think they're one of the best in the world.
Well, thank you. That means a lot.
So as far as, I mean, until we get the new system, you know, if we decide to go that way, the thing that you said about we don't have a backup in this building.
You have an on-site backup, you don't have an off-site.
So is it possible to have a downloaded backup once a week that the supervisor could?
That is an incredibly antiquated way to do it, but yes. That is the
But that
way
may be our
people-
only
yeah.
offsite. to
That
do
is
it
the
now.
way, you know, kind of back when you had tape drives still, if anybody knows what they are, you all should be, you should know what they are. I'm not talking about microphone now, so I can say that.
So,
That is the way people used to do it. You put in a new tape, back it up, take it off site. It's a way to do it. We can check your NAS to see if it has that capability, and then just, pop a hard drive in there, and then you would just have to, I guess, take it home.
Well, you're probably thinking, Sean, just in case, or George, just in case something happens.
Yeah.
Short term.
Right.
Like right now, get it off site if we absolutely have to, and then as we work into this new program, we go that way, and then we can go from there.
I just have to see if the capability with your NAS is there. So we can check that when we're here on Friday.
Gotcha.
Because Murphy's Law, it's gonna
Well,
burn
that's
next
the other
week.
one.
Well, then
That's
now
what
we'll
we
bring
mentioned.
attention to it as well. And then the rest of the packet that we gave you is just some information on stuff that we do. We've also updated our website recently just to make it a little bit more streamlined, and then we included a hover brochure. You already have it, it's just there because there's a ton of features on the bottom of that, features that you may not realize you have. So, that's it. Any questions? Awkward silence?
Awkward silence.
You're welcome.
You covered all the bases, that's good.
That was all.
We appreciate you taking the
I
time.
appreciate letting us come. We haven't met a few of you, so it's kind of nice to come out and just say hi. I mean, ignore all this, it's just nice to be personable.
So we can expect the quote in, the quote that you're working on?
Yeah, anything that's on the back there, we'll send quotes for everything. And I'll try to get up on before your next board meeting. So I've got plenty of time. The server will want to take the longest to get it. Okay,
Very good.
anything else?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Sorry we took up so much time.
Thank you.
Joe, what time will we be here Friday?
It'll probably be about 9:30.
Okay.
Okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you. That might be something we could do at one of our workshops, is that we have, when we first went with Hover, they did a presentation and they walked us through everything we can do with these phones. So that might be something we could do at a workshop, because there's a lot. No, I'm looking around, just
You and
you,
Maureen.
me, Maureen, and Lee, we were the only ones here for that original presentation. So that might be something we do at one of our workshops,
Yeah.
where we can have someone come on in and do a presentation and what we can utilize on the Hover network. remember them talking about, geez, you can take this phone, take it with you on vacation, you can check into work and see about your messages. I looked at it and said, the hell I will. I'm not taking that
That's
phone to
work-life
me.
balance.
Yeah.
Okay. Old business. The only thing I had for under old business, basically is on the appointments with the status there. Now, I think Lee sent out notifications to everybody, but the notification was in the penny saver, I'm sure everybody saw that. And notification was sent to the Batavia Daily News, having to do with planning board member, an alternate for the planning board, a member for the zoning board of appeals, and a member for the grievance committee. So all of that has been done. We have received only 3 letters of interest that I know of at this time, all for the planning board. I have not heard of any for the zoning board. Correct me, Maureen, if you've gotten something in your office there.
No.
And I've heard nothing for the grievance committee. All board members have been notified of this. They all know what the story is. They know that they have to come up with interview questions, set up an appointment once we have all the names after the deadline. And they will make arrangements to have a special meeting where they will interview those people so they can present their recommendations to the town board next month at our board meeting. Okay? Now, under old business there, it was tabled last week to today's meeting, and that was having to do with the town attorney, and that was tabled for discussion for tonight. So I'm listening on that. I've already put together, because we had to publicize for those board members and set up interview process for people to be interviewed. So I would assume that we're going to do the same thing for an attorney. Am I correct in that? How are we feeling on that? I mean, you set the precedent last week of interviewing for any appointees being replaced.
Did we have anybody step up that's interested in the town attorney position?
I've spoke with a couple of people in town. I've also spoke with attorneys at the Association of Towns as well. Inquiries only. Nobody has said, yeah, I think I'll run at this time, or be interviewed, I should say, not run. So that's about it at this time, but we haven't publicized
We haven't
that at all
publicized
yet.
anything.
So I think it would behoove us to do the same thing for a town attorney as what we did for the board members as well.
Any of the,
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, any of the attorneys that you talked to, Sean, did any of them seem more probably to want to than just, no, I'm just not interested, or?
Well, they didn't say they weren't interested, but they didn't say they were interested, let's put it that way. They were inquiring. That's about it at this time. And it's basically, okay, you know, let me know, because I told them we'll probably have to advertise, just like we do with the other board members, and go through an interview process. And they just basically say, okay, just let me know.
Was it 4 or 5 roughly?
Locally, it was about 3, and then, like I said, I spoke with Association Towns, but they're not gonna be running, they live all up in the Albany area. So that's the whole group of attorneys that I had spoken with. And as per New York State law, the one requirement, just like any officials of the town, you're supposed to be within the town. But, like with an attorney, for us, we have to be in the town. But for the attorney, if you don't have one locally, meaning within your town, then you can start to look outside the town. Now, to me, because our town is so small, Orleans County is representative of our town, basically, because we're a very small county. So I would like to see others, you know, I was told a name, like up in Lindenville. I don't know this person. I have no idea, no knowledge of them. So I would like to, by the, sending out the
Advertisement.
advertisement, thank you. So sending out the advertisement requiring or requesting people to apply for the position might bring in some of the attorneys that I don't know anything about, probably a lot of us don't, and see what they have to bring to the table.
Maybe there are more attorneys in the county than we realize.
Could be. They might live in the county and be working in the Buffalo area or the Rochester area, but they live in our county. So that's what I'm looking at, so I don't know.
I did call the associations of towns as well, and they shared that there is, that our town, being as small as we are, the requirement is not like that we have to stay within the county or even, or within the town, that we do have, because it is, I don't remember the terms that they use, but because of the position that it is and the services that are being rendered from an attorney, that we as the town board do get to pick, and it isn't limited to the town or to the county, because our bylaws don't say that. Other towns or other municipalities may.
We don't have bylaws.
We do, we have
No.
this,
Towns do not have bylaws. We have town law.
the town, hold on. It doesn't say, we don't have anywhere that I could find that says they have to reside within the town or the county.
Town law says that, that's why I just got done saying, they do not have to reside within the town.
So I was just saying, I'm fine with, I do think, we do have a proposal, but I am saying that it doesn't have to be, I think there are other things and qualifications that maybe we would like to address and things that we're looking for from an attorney, and what we would like to have from an attorney outside of their residence.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, no, I actually, you're both on basically the same page. I think if there's some to interview, I think that's a good idea. There's several large reasons, but just if there's a local one, great. If not, there's other ones, and it does not have to stay inside the town or the town manual too. But if we did find one local, it just shows that we're trying to help the local economy and the local people. If they don't come up to what we need, then we could go in other directions. I think an interview process wouldn't be bad. It would have to be a set timetable, because an attorney is a very, very important position for everything that runs in the town. That's my thought.
Yeah, so I guess if we're going to be putting out an ad, I would like to see the timeline be as quick as possible so that we can have them.
That I agree too.
Have
I mean,
everything
it's important.
voted, so that by our February meeting, we have someone in place. And then my other question is, would we be willing to have counsel, at least for for this month, if something happens that we need counsel, that we could get for the month? And then kind of go from there. We can still do the interview and still go that way, but that we can have a resource that we can use for.
That's one reason why I called the Association of Towns, and they have no problem with any guidance or anything that we need in the interim. They would be willing to assist.
Fantastic. That's great.
Okay,
That answered my question.
okay.
Because you never know.
That's true. keep getting told that we keep losing, but it says it's working there, and I can hear the echo on the telephone here.
Do we have a new IT guy? Oh, wait a minute.
A little ironic.
Already, while he was talking, I sent him a text, because we seem to be having a problem with this D-Tech right here, which is what everything's linked into. Every so often my screen will go black on me. But I have noticed since when he was talking, I do have a little microphone icon here. And all of a sudden, the line will go across it, which means the mics aren't on. And I've clicked it a couple of times here now, just to make sure. I don't know why that has happened, because I'm not touching anything up here.
I would bet that it's the internet cutting in and out.
Yeah.
Could be. Could be. Okay, then, getting back to the interview process here. Okay, if Lee were to put that in the paper tomorrow even, it will not show up until next Tuesday. I don't have, or do I?
So,
Yes, I do.
do you want a resolution?
I don't know if we really need a resolution, we just need to come to an agreement on it.
I think that we place an ad for a town attorney in the Penny Saver, Orleans Hub, and Batavia Daily this weekend, so it have to go in by tomorrow at noon for the Penny Saver, and that applicants are to, or interested parties are to respond by Friday the 21st, and interviews will be held, and we can set that time, but during the week of the 24th.
Submit by what date?
21st, which is
21st.
next Friday, week from this Friday.
And do we want to make proposals will be accepted from, because attorneys is normally like they would submit a proposal to us.
They can, yeah, rather than a letter of interest, they can submit a proposal. February. Oh, February is going to be one of those months where we have our workshop on the 7th, our town board meeting on the 9th, 2 days later. Okay. Meanwhile, let's, everybody in between, the deadline's the 21st, we'll have a list of names of people to be interviewed. We can put all that together. We need to put questions together to interview these people with.
I have a list I can email out.
I'd love to see it. And we do not change or go off course on any of those questions. It's not fair to others if you ask the question one way to this person, but completely different to that person. You want to get the same responses from each candidate. I'm trying to figure out when we can, because we got to put questions together over the next week or two. Interviews either that week of the 31st or the tail end of the 24th. Suggestions?
Do we want to do a couple of questions? One is because we'll have a forum for the interview, would that be considered,
Yes.
so we'll need to publicize for
We will
that?
have to publicize it, it will be a special board meeting, of which then we would go into executive session. We
Okay.
would open the meeting, then go to executive session, and do the interviews, discussions about them, then we come back out of executive session and close the meeting.
And my next question is, would we prefer to, so can we, when we publicize for that position, can we also put right in there about the special meeting for the interview?
Well, yeah, they'll be interviewed, yeah.
No, I should like actually go ahead and put a date in there and a time that works for us, that we would be interviewing the attorneys. So
When-
that, then that way, it would be, we don't have to, re-put out about a special meeting, it would all be in one.
You'd have to do another, it would have to be a special.
We'd have to advertise a second time about when the special board meeting would be.
They could be in together, but yeah, you would have to. That would be an attorney question about the date, the timeliness of the special board meeting.
And more than likely, because of their work schedule, depending on how many people we have that show interest,
Maybe not a realistic concept.
it would be a time frame for it too. Whether we might have to do it remotely or we do it in person. Okay?
Can we pick a time though that would work for us now?
I'm, first of all, I'm looking for a date that would work for that special board meeting. So I need a date first. And that's why I'm talking about the week of the 24th towards the end of it, because we have to, when we identify, the 21st is when we identify everybody that's interested. I will make phone calls letting them know. So really, I'm looking at that first week in February where we would have a special board meeting for interviews. Because if, we gotta work out their time frame.
Is it gonna be during the day?
I got a feeling that
It's not gonna have to be.
it might have to be towards the end of the day.
I know the town of Murray they were just hired a town attorney, and they did it on a Saturday. I don't know if that would be something that you guys would, for the interview for.
That, I have no problem with that. I don't have a lot of dates.
You're gonna, that would you prefer during the week? I'm okay with just-
I can do a Saturday, that's,
I'm working Saturday mornings.
Oh, yeah.
I can do a Saturday.
It would have to be in the afternoon for Dad, it would have to be after 12:30.
Saturday afternoon would be better for me too, like if we're open.
So then you're talking like the 29th or the 5th.
Yeah, either one of them.
The 29th would work better for,
I can do either.
Check here. Oh, right, 29th, I have nothing. Oh, right.
You're retired, Sean, come on.
Yeah, okay. My schedule fills up pretty quick.
Maureen, does that have to be in, advertised so many days ahead of time?
I would check with my attorney.
Be nice to have one. Just gotta say,
Well, the advertisement for the applicants, there is no time frame on that other than the deadline.
special board.
For us to have a meeting to do the interviews, that's gotta be 10 days. So if the 29th,
Yeah,
It's not gonna
I'm agreeing with Dale.
I think it's 5, so.
only 5?
But I don't know, that's why I call Lance.
I'm looking it up right now, hold on, just give me a second.
It's usually, there's 5 and 10, they use those two numbers interchangeably depending on what it is.
I thought for a special board meeting, I thought it was 5.
Hmm.
Notice of time and place of a meeting must conspicuously posted in at least one public location, town clerk's vote, and given to the news media at least 72 hours before any meeting scheduled, at least a week in advance. Where a meeting is scheduled less than a week in advance, notice to the news media and public postings must be done to the extent practicable. For further information on notice requirements, please refer to the Association Town Clerk Manual.
I'm looking at the manual right now. I don't
So-
see it.
I don't leave it up to that, because that's interpretation. I always want my captain to tell me. I can't get on, Sean.
You can't get on. Everything's functioning properly right here in front of me.
Okay.
Try rebooting it again.
Yeah, it kicked me off.
But, I mean, we can say, like, I feel like if we publicize it now, that's 2 weeks.
Yeah, I agree.
Days.
Yeah.
We should still be, and it says 72 hours, so.
So we're looking at the 29th then?
Yes.
It may be one of my deputies here. My grandson's having brain surgery that week.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I don't know where I'm going to be.
Okay.
What time do you want to do, Sean?
The afternoon, starting like George just said, probably starting at about 1 o'clock. Okay, and depending on the number, I would prefer that our question and answer period is only about half hour, 40 minutes max. Anything beyond that, everybody starts to fall asleep. Then we have a few minutes where we discuss that applicant, then we move on to the next one. Okay? So like I said, depending, if we have just 2 applicants, then fine, 2 hours. If we have 5, then it's 5 hours, but I think 1 o'clock in the afternoon is a good starting time. And this will all be based on weather conditions too, so if we have a blizzard that day, what is an alternate date?
February,
I would say the 5th then, right?
Right, yeah, following.
The following Saturday?
following Saturday.
Okay.
But I know our roads will be cleared out, no problem.
Absolutely.
Our roads will be, but frickin', what was it, a couple days ago, I drove into Brockport and then down to Batavia, and the state roads were terrible, but ours here in town were great, so Dale, you and your guys, I thought did a fantastic job.
And that would be at the same time, correct?
Yep. Okay.
Are we gonna discuss questions, or are we just gonna present questions? Just have a central.
Well, what I would like is for us to meet prior to that and go over those questions. First of all, I'm sure you've got questions you'd like to ask. Carrie's got some. I know I've got some. Dave, you might. Margaret, you might have some. So I'd like to pool all those questions together first. Will we ask 30 questions? No. So there's 5 of us, so at least 1 question per person. Allowed 5 minutes max per response. So that'll take care of a good half hour right there.
Is, could we get together like the week before and put together the questions? That would be the week of the 21st, or, that, in that week sometime.
Could I just pose that maybe instead of getting together again, because then we have to publicize that as well,
Yeah.
that maybe I could put together a survey, so if we send out if everybody submits their questions, we could have a list of questions, and then everybody could go through and pick like their top 7 questions, and then we can look at like what the majority of us thought were the best questions questions we wanted to make sure we addressed for our community. I can do it as like a Google survey or wouldn't take me long to do that.
We can do it that way.
And then everyone will have input.
And I imagine some of our questions will be duplicates or pretty similar.
Right.
That we can just.
Yeah, just the verbiage might have to be modified.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. We can do it that way and put them all together.
Put that on the list.
So do we want to, on the 29th, come together at 1 and then have the interview start at like 1:30? So that we have time to just,
I'd rather us come together like at 12:30, interview start at 1.
okay.
That way we can have, because what I would like to have is the same questions for each applicant. And let's say we have 4 applicants, each of us will have 4 separate sheets. Put the applicant's name at the top, here's the questions, and we
Write your
each,
thoughts after.
we write down exactly
And rate
what
them.
we liked or disliked, how they respond to each question. And then we can discuss them after the interview process is over.
Before we move on to the next person.
Right. And even after we're all done with all the interviews, then we will start talking about the candidates. But we get those questions all put together and hammered out, and I can get them all run off the copier for us. Okay?
Will the building be open then? Are you?
I'll open it, I'll take care of it.
People will be, no, I have to be here.
Oh, yeah, you have to be here because it's an official board meeting.
Yes, so what I'm saying is, can anyone attend then?
No, in that respect, the
But they
building
can come
is
at the
still
beginning.
closed, just like right now,
Right, but they could come to, at the beginning. 'Cause
on
it's-
YouTube.
Okay, that was my question. You're
Yeah.
gonna have it closed because of,
And
okay.
then when you go to executive session, then,
I just have to click that little microphone right there. They can't
Okay.
hear anything, and basically I just go to right there, and all they see is that green screen. So they don't see us, they don't hear us.
okay. And then we come back afterwards
And then we come back out of executive session, and everything gets turned back on like this.
I think we'll be physically going into the conference room though, because if there's more than one applicant, the applicant's here.
We'll have the seats out there for them. And hopefully they come about that time. I'm sorry, we're quite close right now. So,
Hello?
okay. Is that it then, everybody? Everybody's comfortable with that then for the interview process and everything?
Yes.
No, I can't
Yep.
talk right now.
Okay.
Questions submitted by, when do you want them, for the get-together survey period, when do you want them submitted by?
What I'm actually working on it right now, and I will email it out to you guys, if you can just respond, and I will add them as we go, and then, say by like next Wednesday, like we can keep adding to it, but then by next Wednesday, we can kind of have, I'll send out the final one for everybody to look through and vote, and then I will, as soon as I get everyone's response, I'll email it back out to everyone with the results.
Okay.
Okay, we need a second on Carrie's motion
Do we really need a motion for all that?
to advertise. Not everything else you've been discussing. The motion was to advertise in the Daily News, Penny Saver, Orleans Hub for a town attorney. Proposals submitted by January 21st.
Advertise where?
It was the Daily News, the Penny Saver, and Orleans Hub, three
Okay.
that were listed.
I only heard 2 of them, I'm sorry.
She listed all 3.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay. Resolution 284, we do this at the beginning of every year. Dale presents it, it's for the highway department. The resolution states pursuant to the provisions of section 284 of the highway law to allow superintendent of highways Dale Brooks of the town of Berry, Orleans County, New York, and the undersigned members of the town board shall agree that monies levied and collected from in the town for the repair and improvement of highways and received from the state for state aid for the repair and improvement of highways shall be expended as follows. A preliminary assessment of needs has been completed for the town of Berry for the repair and improvement of highways. As funding has not been approved from the state of New York, it is intangible to list the locations and types of repairs and improvements of highways. As funding is approved from the state of New York, Superintendent of Highways Dale Brooks will update the list of improvements. This is once again because the good old state of New York, you got to put the cart before the horse.
So we have to make a motion to pass that before we get any money? Is that, that's what you?
I'd say yes.
Okay. As I said, we do this every year. The state requires it. It's a little CYA on our part. So, do I hear a motion then to accept this?
I make a motion to accept it as written.
I hear a second?
Give me just a second here.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, Dave
Dave
and Margaret?
and Margaret, yep.
To accept and sign the highway agreement?
Yeah, the section 284.
Okay.
All in favor?
Okay.
Opposed? So carried. I will pass this down if every council person would please sign it.
I will be changing the date on it to today. And it will be resolution number 8.
Okay. Okay, then. Next, we have another resolution.
Oh, they were in your mailboxes?
Yep.
Yep.
Official undertaking of municipal officials. Now, this one is primarily for those elected officials and 1 or 2 appointed deputy clerks. What this is, it covers the town insofar as the people that handle money for the town. Whereas various sections of the New York State town law and public officers law require that certain officials execute an official undertaking, and whereas we, the town board of the town of Berry, hereby require the supervisor, deputy supervisor, town clerk / tax collector, deputy town clerk / deputy tax collector, town justice clerks, bookkeeper, and highway superintendent to execute said official undertaking as required by said law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Berry Town Board hereby approves the document entitled Town of Berry Official Undertaking of Municipal Officers, annexed hereto, as to its form and manner of execution, and be it further resolved, the town does and shall maintain insurance coverage in the sum of $500,000 for the town clerk / tax collector, deputy town clerk, deputy tax collector, highway superintendent, bookkeeper, court clerk, and town justice to indemnify against losses through the failure of the officers, clerks, and employees covered thereunder to faithfully perform their duties or to account properly for all monies and property received by virtue of their positions or employment and through fraudulent or dishonest acts committed by the officers, clerks, and employees covered thereunder, and be it further resolved that said official undertaking containing the notarized signatures of those named municipal officials be filed in the office of the town clerk, as well as the original copies of the insurance policies indicating the sufficiency of the sureties to indemnify the town against losses which may arise from failure of such officials to properly discharge their duties. And then there's the certification that is recognized by Maureen Beach Town Clerk. We just have to have a motion and accept this. Now, I have one question that I just noticed in reading this. In the second paragraph, about the town clerk require the supervisor and so on. Now you go down to the fourth paragraph, you have the $500,000 sum for the town clerk. There's no supervisor in there, position supervisor.
I'd have to talk to the insurance company on that. They're the ones that gave me the figure.
Well, it's not the figure insofar as everybody's listed from the second paragraph in the fourth paragraph with the exception of the supervisor.
I know, so I don't know, I wouldn't be sure that, I'm assuming you would be in there too.
I would too, yes.
But the deputy supervisor is not listed either, Sean.
That's true. So I could see us doing a resolution for approval with the correction in that fourth paragraph of adding the supervisor and the deputy supervisor.
Yes, okay.
I have one question too, as long as we're, is this a New York State that we have to have like a minimum of 500,000 or a maximum of 500,000? Or where'd they come up with that number?
I just call the insurance company and they tell me.
But, okay, does our town, how often is our town at 500,000? I mean, and the insurance company, I imagine they're getting paid. I mean, the higher that number, the more they're getting paid. So it would behoove them to have a higher number, you know what I mean? I didn't know if it was a New York State policy or if this was an insurance policy. You know what I'm talking about?
Who set that number?
Who set that number?
I know that for our township, the state says that we have to have like 25% in our general fund, which for our town, that's about $500,000. So,
Okay.
Go with the minimum.
Okay. So we do get there, so that's why they said, okay.
I will call and double check that you should be in that paragraph. That it covers both of you.
so do we make a motion to accept this with the
With the
addition
addition.
of
With addition of,
supervisor and the deputy supervisor?
yeah.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that we move to accept this insurance coverage for all those listed in addition to the supervisor and deputy supervisor in the fourth paragraph be added.
I hear a second?
Second.
Carrie did the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay. Now, something I received in an email today, and I'll pass it on down to you. It came from the county. Now, what they're looking for, and this This is something I was involved from the earliest days. And then Tom McCabe got involved with it and myself, and I kind of backed up a little bit so he handled it. And then more recently, in the last 5-6 months, Margaret has been very involved with it as well. And that has to do with the emergency management system. Having to do with COVA, I also was addressing the lack of volunteer firemen as well as EMTs that we have in our community, county as well as the town of Barry, where I've written to federal legislators as well as state legislators on it. So what they want to do is put together a task force here. And they want to have, and they don't have it in this letter, but the time is 7 p.m. for the 2 meetings, February 16th and March 16th, for an organizational. They wish us to, they want me to send a name identifying a person to represent our town at these meetings. Now, as I said, Margaret's been involved for the last 5-6 months, so she knows what's going on. We had quite a few meetings over at the town of Albion, in their town hall, where we got together all the municipalities in central Orleans County and met with different ambulance corps and everything else, trying to figure out what was going on and what we can do differently. It's gotten to the point where COVA might fold, so now the county is stepping up to the plate, and they're gonna see what we can do, but they want representation. So because Margaret's been involved, like I said, I'd recommend Margaret, but what does everybody else have to say?
I move that Margaret represent the town of Barry in the task force to assess the issues that are impacting emergency medical service response.
I'll second that.
You got that, Carrie? And
When I had to go by ambulance.
okay,
several times to the hospital. Yes.
all in favor then?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
So should that be on our annual, like our meetings to have a report from Margaret?
Pardon?
To have a report from you each meeting for like the parks meetings and the highway department meetings and all that? And
Absolutely.
Get
Yep.
a meeting from you.
Her first report wouldn't be until March though, because the February meeting isn't
Right.
until after our board meeting, so come March, yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, next. Sand and gravel, and I've asked Lee to put this on our website. The Eagle Harbor Sand and Gravel, they came to us because they want to expand their operation from not just sand and gravel, but to mining dolostone, which basically they'd be in competition with Keeler's.
Doesn't matter who they're in competition with,
Right.
Sean. That
Yeah,
shouldn't
well,
even be
true,
mentioned.
I'm just,
I know, but it shouldn't even be mentioned.
I'm sorry, my apologies, kind sir. Anyways, they are looking to expand their operations there. When they came to us over a year ago, the town board at that time, because of the type of operation, we felt that the DEC should be the lead agency and not the town. So it was handed over, we had voted and approved that it should go to the DEC. So they just sent out, you should all have a copy of this letter, which is to Mr. Diamante, who is the, I don't know if he's the sole owner, but he is the CEO for the operation. So they had pointed out to him, whereas they had a seeker, of positive declaration on their seeker for what's going to take place. They have the notice of public scoping, which I have right here. And that's all been, like I said, put on our website. But this is to Mr. Biamonte. He's got the responsibility to get this all advertised, not the town. We're just copied in because of it taking place in our town. The deadline for any kind of public opinion is February 11th. Now, when I look through here, now I did not read it word for word. I would assume it's got to be sent to Mr. Call. It does not say anywhere in here in the scoping outline. I mean, it describes everything, all the different steps, but it does not say for public opinion where that should be sent. So that's why I would assume that Mr. Call would be the, well, here we go right there, positive declaration and public scoping. Contact person. Written comments on the draft scoping document are being accepted and must be submitted by mail or email to the contact person listed below by February 11th. That is Robert Call.
And that is all on the front letter, on the letter that we have. It's very tiny print, but it's there. There's a telephone number and an email address.
Well, that letter you got was the one that was sent directly to Biamonte. So, yeah, that is very small.
It's very small, but it does have the address and
Yep.
it has an email address.
But it's
Is
also,
it- Can you see it?
It is also on the last line of the, if you have any questions related to the scoping
Yeah.
process, please contact me.
okay, so that was just an FYI for everybody that what they're moving along with right here. Having to do with the mine operations over there. I don't know how many people, I stopped and I walked up onto that, I don't know, about a month ago. I stopped on the side of the road on Eagle Harbor, walked up onto the berm so I could take a look, and I took some pictures. That's a good-sized lake they got sitting in there right now, and there was a large piece of equipment over on the far side there. I mean, the tires on that equipment is taller than I am. It was just amazing, the nice green water.
It's huge.
You can see it.
No, you can't.
Okay. And the only other thing I have at this time, I saw Carrie's email just before our meeting having to do with the letter to the state, to the ORES, from Young Summer, the attorneys for Heritage Wind. So Carrie, you wanted to talk about it?
Yep, so Young's in Summer, they wrote a letter in response to the ORES's response, and it's on the DMM site. I did include that email, or the actual letter in the email that I sent out as well. My request is that I move that we submit a letter in response to this letter to the state. This is the first wind project and the first project kind of going through with wind, and I think that it is important that we respond to this letter. My thoughts kind of be that it's an unauthorized response. This is 94C process is very new, and it really just shouldn't be. It should be stricken from the DMM.
I got a question. What is the general tone or flavor of that letter?
It is stating that the letter is stating that ORES is being deceitful in their comments. The ORES staff.
So
But you're welcome to read the letter. I don't want to put words into the letter.
No, but that's why I said the general flavor of it, the general overtone of it. So in other words, they are complaining to ORES they're not doing their job correctly.
Right.
So the developer is complaining to ORES.
To the,
ORES
not-
who has the final say.
not to ORES as ORES as the executive director, but to the staff, the ORES staff, which is not.
So if they're admonishing the organization that is going to grant this or not grant it, do you think that's considered like a slap in ORES's face? Do you think that's going to help the developer insofar as getting their approval?
I think that.
I'm just looking at it from that perspective.
So that could be one, but I think that the wording and what is in the letter, one of the things as a town representative that is concerning to me in the letter is that it is stating that one of the reasons that they should move forward is because their studies, they have done studies that are in similar locations in New York State to where we are, and that has wind turbines currently. And I have looked and I have not found any locations in New York State that is in a similar geographic location as we are, as the town of Barry is, and that there are specifics about our community that are special and that should be protected. And I think that the letter should just state that that should be that letter should be retracted because it's outside of.
Is that really our position?
So I do believe that we passed a resolution that you're not supposed to be even discussing.
I'm just asking questions. I'm not really discussing, I'm just asking questions, bringing out, rather than whatever you say and that's it. I'm just asking questions. That's all.
I am answering them, but I think it's.
And I know you already made it very clear, I can't even vote. So, but I'm just throwing questions out, that's all.
Okay, that is considered discussion, and that was also included in the resolution. And I don't mind answering, obviously, I am answering those questions, and I just think that if the town, we didn't appeal the decision to not be a party to this case, we have over $36,000 left of intervenor funding. The decision is supposed to be ruled on tomorrow, so it would be a quick turnaround, a very brief email. I don't see where it would cause any harm to the town to do this, and I would talk and share with you guys, just as I have been emailing out and keeping everyone informed as to what is going on, that I would request that our attorneys, Knopf and Shaw, would be the ones to write the letter, and I would, make sure that we aren't putting ourselves in any jeopardy. And if we were, I would send, if they say, you are putting yourself in jeopardy by sending this, or, here are our concerns, I will share that with all of you.
The letter that you're talking about, does it say that they're saying that there's other municipalities that are very close to ours and are similar as far as the wind project?
Yeah. They were saying a location in Ontario, and I believe it was Ontario, New York was the way. I literally just read it, I sent it out to you guys as soon as I saw it, and as I said, I don't know how I missed it, because I have been checking the ORES site. I'm not on getting the emails directly, so I have to go on and look at them. And I'm trying to see if I can control F, Ontario. So the statement, I don't think that I would want to address specific statements in here, because I think that would get to be too much. I think just by just stating that it should be stricken from the records. But it says, lastly, ORES staff inaccurately asserts that the record is devoid of any assessment of avian risk based upon other site-specific factors beyond proximity to the WMAs, referencing the wildlife management areas. This is also patently false. The ARA included a regional analysis focused primarily on wind projects in the same geographic and ecological region and with similar habitat as the facility, and looked at wind projects situated in tilled and untilled farmland in Ontario and New York State. So I guess that it must be referencing Canada. But what they're saying, from my interpretation of this, is that the similarities is that it's agricultural land, not necessarily like the actual geography and the wildlife refuge and the topography that we have here compared to these other areas. And they're saying the applicant's testimony and most recent evidence, and then it just goes into their defending their stance that the ORES is incorrect.
Well, the only problem with, well, the main problem I see with that is there's really no statute that's gonna have the same size windmills that these are for our situation. So if they're comparing with 350 or 400 foot tall windmills, especially for the habitat, it's gonna be completely different at 700 plus. I mean, so they don't necessarily say it's good or bad, but they shouldn't be comparing it to something that's not the same, especially when it comes to the wildlife habitat.
And that's actually, earlier in the letter, they are refuting, ORES, actually the staff members from the Office of Renewable Energy Siting, they actually stated exactly what you were saying, that you can't make those comparisons because there isn't anything like it. And it's the burden of proof is on the developer to show that that isn't going to have significant impacts. And so that is what ORES said, and they're disputing that in the saying that no, this should be accepted.
Unless Ontario, Canada has one, the same height and girth, that I don't know. I know in North America, or the United States, there's only one, and that's the prototype down in basically Texas. So there's nothing to compare. Now, if there was another wind farm that had the same style, the new technology, and the height of the windmill, then you could use that to bounce off as far as comparisons. But you don't have a comparison to go by.
Yeah.
As a resident, when the previous board decided or, voted in majority to not, complain about what New York State was doing and just letting them, go ahead and do what you want, I was disappointed. Now that the town has voted and has elected officials, we have the intervenor funds, it's not gonna cost us. I think this should be a letter that is sent, saying that, what Dave is saying, that it's not, our town, is not, if they're not comparing 700-foot wind turbines, that they can't just say, this is the way it is, 300, 700, there's no difference. There is.
I think that I do want to be careful about arguing the specific points of the letter, because I think that we would have to have, it would take a lot more time and energy and resources to get that. But I think that because this is a newer 94C process and people are kind of just checking, what can we do, what can we not do? And so they submitted this letter, but it is an unauthorized response. It's not, there's a comment period and the comment period is over. And so and they even state that in the letter that this isn't part of the 94C normal procedure process. And so I think just a request that response be stricken just holds to the regulations that are in place.
Yeah, and I'm not saying get into the whole, well, this is only X amount of feet from ground level and that. I'll just say you're not comparing two like things.
Right.
And you can leave it as gray as that. That way you're not getting the whole legal end of it. Because we would be the largest.
Right.
There's nothing to compare it to, whether good or bad.
Did I make a motion at the beginning? No.
I think we just
Okay.
discussed it.
I move that we respond to the letter. I'm sorry, I gotta have it pulled up here. That we request Knopf and Shaw to respond to the a letter from Youngs and Summers dated January 7th in regards to the Heritage Wind proceeding, requesting that the letter be struck for unauthorized response to comments.
You're requesting Young and Summer to reply?
No, Knopf and Shaw to reply to Youngs and Summers. And the, just looking it up here quick, the article, or the number, I put the right thing here. The document number on the DMM site is 97, document number 97.
Can you repeat that?
Yep, the document number,
No, so you are requesting Knopf and Shaw to reply to the letter from Young and Summer, and then what was after that?
document number 97 in the Heritage Wind proceedings. I'm gonna need a second on that.
Right, I second. You want the deputy supervisor to run the meeting? Is that the proper procedure, or can Sean run the meeting?
I'm mummed on this part, am I not? I cannot address it anyway, either way.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No.
Have a roll call, please. Carrie?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Margaret?
No.
Sean, you're not voting?
Correct. I'm not allowed to.
George, what's that?
Yeah, sorry, I'm not up to you yet.
Okay.
All right. Three yeses, one no, and an abstain.
Okay? May I now?
Yeah, that's it, thank you.
Okay. Now, because I have received calls, people wanting to address to the board.
Sean, I have,
Yes, go ahead.
first of all, the letters, I made a copy for everybody. This is just a formal letter from the court stating that the books have to be
Oh, yeah.
audited every year. That's just letting the board know Margaret's our auditor, but we still have to submit that letter to you yearly, and you never called for my report.
I haven't gotten the reports yet.
I thought you were doing comments, which is the end of the meeting.
No, I've got the speakers.
Okay,
I haven't forgotten you.
all right, never mind.
I like that check.
So Judge Markey is our auditor?
No,
Or no?
he just gets copied in. He is the supervising judge over all the judges in our district.
Okay.
So he just wants to see that this has been submitted. This is just to make you aware that Margaret will be auditing the court records.
This is a yearly procedure, done at the beginning of the year for the previous year. Any other questions on that?
When
Okay.
does that have to be done by?
There isn't a specific date. Usually with Lynn, it was always March or April.
Okay.
Okay, I've done this in the past a couple of times when we were closed down before. Anybody that so wishes to address the board, now is the time to do that. On our website, you know what my phone number is. If you call into my phone, 590-6069, that's 585-590-6069 at this time. One at a time. I will put you right here next to the office phone and the microphone so everybody can hear you. Remember that if you do call in, you have a 5-minute time limit. Please, very clearly and slowly, tell us who you are, your name, and your legal address. I want you to please show respect. And I also want you to keep your subject matter to only one topic. So as I said at this time, if anybody so wishes to call in, you may do so.
Yeah, there's a 20-second delay.
That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Okay, since there's no phone calls coming in to give their viewpoints, then we will move on. Okay, my financials, which is for the end of the year of 2021. And you're still going to see some bills coming up that have to be closed out of 2021, but predominantly, or pretty much, this is it. So for the general fund for the town, out of the budget of $667,898, we spent $615,577. In other words, 92.17% of our budget. Highway, out of their $1,052,789, they spent $986,242.20, or 93.68% of the annual budget. So both the town and the highway, even though we're up there close, we still were under what we were budgeted for. And I can safely say, at least for the last 4 years, we've been under every time. So that's great. We've saved a few dollars each year. Okay, Dale,
Yes, sir.
your report?
For what, for January? I gave you the end of the year report.
Yeah, I think we covered that in our January 3rd meeting. I think I had that out to everybody,
I think so, yes.
if I do remember.
It
Okay,
was like a multi-month end of the year report.
Yes.
yeah. You're right. Maureen, now it's your turn.
Town clerk checks and court checks. This is copies, just if you want to look, there's 2 copies there, so
Okay.
send one. And then pass that one too if you want, or give it back to me, save paper.
So the town clerk collected approximately according to this, $172 and, 55 cents. State and local revenues for $3,208 overall. Okay. And from the Justice Department, we received $3,694, of which
I'll take that back.
2/3 of it gets sent right off to the comptroller's office. Okay. I have requested from both our CEO as well as our assessor for these monthly reports. I did not, 2, 3, I did not get Barry's report into your box, but I do have copies for everyone. Okay, and because of what is coming up, I'm going to read this out loud so those online can hear it. The assessor's report, it says, all needed exemption renewals were sent out in December and are being returned and are to be returned by March 1st, 2022 deadline. Work continues on the 22 annual reassessment. The state of New York estimates the residential trend for 22 is 11%, meaning the average home is underassessed by 11%. It's probably based on all the exorbitant prices people were getting for selling their homes here in the last year or so. I have finished my first round evaluation for 22 and am waiting on the state to come out with their numbers to see if I have raised values enough for 22 to claim 100% again. This will continue until mid-March when change notices will be sent out. If you have any questions, please contact Barry Flansburgh, Assessor, 734-8372. In your mailbox, Shelley had put her report in there, which, by the looks of it, it's the whole month, or the whole year of 21. So it's real early in 22. There's nothing to report apparently for first couple of weeks here in the year 22 at this time. But there is a complete report anyways for the whole year of 2021 on building permits, couple of issues that were covered by the planning board, the zoning board. Okay. Now, appointments that I made for this coming year. Planning board will be Margaret. The expectation is that you would attend their meetings and then report back to us.
They canceled this week's meeting.
They canceled this, which would have been this past Monday.
Right.
For zoning, that will be Carrie for attending their meetings or any questions you may have. This also means you don't have to just attend the meetings. You got questions or something maybe we've talked about as a board, you can address it with the co-chairpersons, okay? For planning, Margaret, that'd be Tom Keeler and Wes Miller, yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking zoning already. Zoning is Steve Colville, thank you. I always have a problem with his last name. And Luann Tierney.
Could you send me their email addresses? I'm pretty sure I have Luann's, but I don't think I have Steve's.
I will do that. I got it, I'm writing it down now. Okay, for the park, Dave, things are quiet right now, obviously, because it's that time of the year. I will get the names of the people for the park committee to you. I have to check with Lynn to see if he still desires to be on it or not. And Lynn he's been on the park committee. I was on the park committee back before I got elected. But there are 3 other names on there, one of them being Jason, who is going to, Jason Foote, he works for Clark Patterson.
Oh, okay.
He lives here in town, and he's been like the park director, coordinator, whatever. You know, people had to put applications to him if they wanted to utilize the park. He did the scheduling and everything else. He's also big time into Little League. So he's down there all the time for Little League games, but any other soccer games, softball games, so on, that's all coordinated through Jason. So he's on that committee, he's the primary person there, okay? I will get those names and everything to you.
Do we maybe want to just discuss, like, if I know you're like kind of assigning these, but I don't know if maybe some of us have experiences or other, like an area of interest where we may specifically want to serve in one of these roles more than another.
Why, what are you considering?
It's actually not for me. I'm really fine with wherever you put me, but I don't know, like, I don't know, Councilman McKenna has been in like park stuff. I think of him as being.
I worked with the startup of the park and getting that going, and I was a Babe Ruth coach and went through all that, so I wouldn't mind, and I know
I'm
Jason
not saying that he has to, I'm just saying
But
that
if
like,
Dave-
but maybe Dave has something that
Dave
he specifically.
really likes it, I
Well, the
have
only-
no problem.
I have no problem with the park committee. The only issue I have, since it's a summertime situation more or less, park, is my other business does take me out of the state almost every weekend. So just,
You don't have to be in attendance there.
okay,
It's just when they have a meeting.
okay.
They just discuss what's going on there. There's a number of things. We'd like to see some development of the park going on. So that's what that would involve. And then utilities, George, once again, we're looking at what transpires here. There was a number of things that we have tried in the past couple of years to get going with the Genesee Finger Lakes Clean Energy Commission, and trying to get recognized there, which would have provided a few dollars in our pockets if that had been completed. You know, and other utilities such as green energy charging stations and locations for them, getting electricity back into the park. There's a number of things we've been looking at for that. That one, you would be primarily, there is no committee, but that would be something you would be working with myself / Margaret here. Okay, as we get the different projects started up and so on, then that would be a little bit more of a task.
Yeah, I'll trade with you, Dave, if you wanna.
And I
We're
was,
talking electric in the park, we're talking park.
I must not have done a good job on utility. I was serving on that before, and I guess, but I wanted to look more at the internet aspect of things than the,
All right,
like the electric car station, so.
I'll do my homework, I'll work.
Okay, very good. Okay, then that's it. Does anybody have anything else? Wait a minute, one more thing I have, and that is for our workshop. I mean, we've got just a refresher here. We have the news article going in for the 21st. Interviews will be the 29th. Snow date would be February 5th. Interview questions. Carrie will start the circulation of interview questions for us to take a look at, and then we will identify a number of those questions that we will be asking. We will meet at 12:30 on the 29th or the 5th, and the interviews would start at 1 PM. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, for the workshop, we unfortunately were very rude to the gentlemen that were here from Clark Patterson to talk about the water project. So I rescheduled them for our next workshop, which is on the 7th.
Why have it done on the 1st?
The 1st is a Tuesday.
Is it?
Yep, February 1st is a Tuesday.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have it on the wrong day then.
February 7th is a Monday. So I have them down to come back and do that presentation once again. That's gonna take a little bit of time. They have maps and all the numbers and everything else. So that's gonna take a little bit of time. The other thing I'd like to talk about is our ARPA funds. The funds that we received 90 some odd thousand this year. We got another 90 some odd thousand that we're getting next year, or this, I'm sorry, it is 22. So last year we got 90 plus, we're gonna get another 90 plus this coming summer.
Sean, excuse me, what's the fund from being new?
ARPA is the COVID recovery fund that the federal government sent out to the states and then the states disseminated to all municipalities.
Okay.
Now, because we're such a small community, we're very limited in the few things that we can apply that money towards, like high-speed internet and water infrastructure, the two primary ones. Although I just learned that we could utilize some of those funds towards development in the park. So I'm investigating that as well, just so that, you know, every avenue is there for us. I have to submit a report to the state and the federal government by April 30th as to what we are doing with the ARPA funds. They haven't even come up with a form yet. They're still working on it. But we have to, by the end of April, submit a form stating what we are utilizing those funds for, how they're being spent. If we have spent any, I have to have documentation that they were spent and get that all sent in. So that's for our first round, is April 30th. They were talking about the end of December here. But like I said, they don't even have a formal report or anything else yet.
Well, it's New York State.
Yeah.
What time is that meeting,
What time is
the
it?
workshop? 5:30 or 6?
6.
6.
We agreed 6 last week. Okay, so those are the two things I have down for our workshop on February 7th, 6 PM. So, anything else, anybody? Okay, do I hear a motion?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I second.
You got that? Carrie and Margaret? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
You need to sign that.
Okay. Turn that mic off, will you please?